was a bit ridiculous. We're inside now. Hopefully it will be a little bit easier with the fast pass option. There is 2 fast pass options. You can get a cheaper one that includes 7 of the attractions, or you can do the all option. They weren't very clear or understanding when I said I was prioritizing roller coasters over anything else here. There are only 4 roller coasters here, so I have paid a premium for today. But as you get inside, it actually is a little bit more breathable in here, which is nice. I was expecting this park to be a bit more grimy than it actually is, but it's very well kept and very neat and tidy. So yeah, so far I'm very impressed by the outlay. It's a little different. It's very hilly, and there is obviously a cable car behind me that takes you up to the other side, which is the main side that I want to be on, because this side is mainly the show buildings. But since I do have the opportunity to ride the express through the mountain, I'm going to do that right now. It's supposed to be an impressive structure. So that was my ride on Ocean Express to get to the park, or at least to the summit of the park on the other side. Quite a little relaxing and impressive little presentation. Better than the gondola ride probably, although I will try that later. But they have a video screen. They have video screens at the top of the train that display a little somewhat dated but still interesting sort of conceptual thing about going under the sea and then back out into the park itself. It's not too busy on this side, so it's nice that I got the luxury to vlog a little bit more since I have the fast pass. So we're gonna go check out the park now. Thrills are what it's all about. So here I'm gonna go up to Thrill Mountains, since that's why I am here. Thrills, not for shows. The first ride of the day is going to be the Arctic Blast Mac Power Coaster. It does a 2-circuit run here. It's getting a bit sunny here at Ocean Park, so it's probably going to be a hot day. I'm going to use my fast pass to get on this one right off the bat, and then get myself down to the other side of the park. But it's just a traditional family coaster that just sort of weaves. It's a little bit longer than the Mac Power Coasters that I'm used to, say back at Wonderland, my home park. But yeah, it should be a nice little ride. So it appears that they scan your ticket at each gate before you enter. I'm about to enter the first ride of the day here, Arctic Blast. I'll probably find out in a moment whether or not that's true or not, because yeah, they sure do. And they also show you, or you also present a ticket. So we are on our way to the back of Arctic Blast, which is good for me, because that's where I prefer to be on this ride.
谢听众吉利14，祝大家在海洋公园有愉快的一天。
Be careful on these rides, because that is now the second time that I've actually brushed a finger on the restraints of these rides. I did it on the first day I was here, and now I've done it on this one, so my thumb is probably going to be pretty sore. They're not really big on seat selection in these parks, I've noticed. Even with the fast track, you're pretty much going to go where they put you. You don't have the option of queuing up for the front like many North American parks provide. That being said, I think the front is overrated anyway, and I'm perfectly fine with people waiting at the front unless it's for a unique ride that makes sense for that. So we're moving on here. I'm probably going to do Hair Raiser next, even though it is the biggest coaster at this park. I'm kind of anticipating the Mine Train being something that I will enjoy the most anyway, but since it's up in this section, I'm going to go head on over. Are a B&M floorless and probably the biggest thrill coaster in Hong Kong and anywhere in this region other than Wood Coaster in Shenzhen, which unfortunately I'm going to miss on this trip, but I hope to get on the way back on my next trip. It's not exactly easy to get over the border in Hong Kong, but that's another story for another day, or if you want to watch my vlog on that, you can too. The roller coaster lives up to its name, but yeah, there's not that many people on this side, so we'll see how busy it gets later on. But 2 rides without the fast pass option is pretty decent. It's probably like a 5-minute wait or so to get on. The way these roller coasters are situated on the sides of the hills here in Hong Kong, if you want to call them hills, because they're not really mountains, but I guess they're mountains. But yeah, the way that they're situated on the side of, say, the mountains is really unbelievable, because it adds a thrill element to the ride that otherwise would be, sometimes in the situation, would be tame. But this ride in particular, I'm not a huge fan of floorless roller coasters, but this is the best floorless roller coaster I've ridden. It's very short. It's actually, basically, it's half a ride that you would normally get at some of the other floorless coasters that are out there, because the mid-course trim break is basically the end of this ride. The lift hill is very short. It goes down, obviously, much deeper than the station building. It's just a quick fix ride that packs a punch, and that's what you want from a coaster like this. A little bit rickety, that's for sure, but I don't know how many rides I'm going to be able to manage on it without like losing my my marbles, because yeah, it's a bit rough on the edges at points, but not too intense. I've been on way worse, to be honest with you. So yeah, we're gonna go back and do another ride on Hair Raiser. So that's Hair Raiser done. Front row ride. I'm gonna wait until this ride behind me, the ice blast, continues on its way. The fast pass option I bought might have just been worth my while just to get the front row ride on the train on my second trip here. The best part about this ride, or this coaster, is definitely the Immelman that follows the first initial loop. You can't actually see it from the entrance to the ride, or even really the station building. It's kind of a surprise element because it turns and then goes back onto the other side of a cliff. It basically gives the sensation of soaring straight over the side of the cliff. It's really one of the best, most remarkable elements on a B&M. That's kind of a fluke, to be honest, I guess, or if they planned it that way, it's quite amazing. Immediately following that is an airtime hill that packs a lot of punch that I've not really had on a floorless coaster before either. So yeah, definitely worth a couple rides on Hair Raiser in the front and the back to get the full experience. Definitely a short trip around the track, but totally worth it. It really is just a no-holds-barred B&M. A little rough around the edges, a little rickety, but how come we don't love that? It's maybe with a little bit of a re-track or some TLC over some time, it'll be smooth again. But yeah, it's the elements here on this island, I'm sure, are pretty brutal throughout the year with rain. So I can't really fault them on the condition of the ride for where it's located. So we're gonna go down into the latter or the lower portion of this side of the island, where the rapids, which is right next to me, is located, along with 2 other coasters and a shot tower, among other attractions. So let's give it a go.
Stand firm, hold the handrail, and keep clear of the edges.
So here it is, the aerodynamics mine train next to the cliff on the South Island in Hong Kong and Ocean Park. Now they've augmented this ride into a VR experience, which I do have a fast pass for in about an hour's time from now. I'm hoping that I can just get on it without the VR experience, because I'm not really here for that. I'm here for the views, for the original ride. They're only running 1 train as well, so with the complications of getting the VR headsets working and everything, I've been here for about 4 minutes and they still haven't dispatched a train yet. So it's looking like a long wait to get on this ride in general. Thankfully I do have the fast pass, but I'm hoping that I can actually get a ride on it without the headset as expressed, because I've never done a VR experience on a roller coaster before, but I'm just not into it. I don't really want to have that. They were rather forceful at the admissions gate about picking a time and making sure that I got this experience. So maybe I'm being too skeptical and that it's actually a lot better than what I'm anticipating. But yeah, it's so far looking like it's going to be a bit of a hairy situation getting on, in particular for this ride. So we'll see. I'm going to watch the train go by when it eventually gets disembarks from the station, and we'll see whether or not anybody doesn't have a VR headset on. So I kind of screwed up my fast pass situation with the Runaway Mine train. I declined on the VR experience for my first ride on it, and it turns out that I just used my only ride, fast pass ride on the coaster. It's the first VR experience in Hong Kong or in Asia, apparently, on a roller coaster, which is kind of funny to me. That is the longest line for an attraction here. It's over an hour. It's the newest attraction that they have, but we're talking about an attraction that some amusement parks in North America are now basically phasing out because it hasn't really worked out so well. Meanwhile, here it's the biggest draw. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm probably not going to get on it again. In fact, I know I'm not going to get on it again. I don't really need to ride that. I don't really need to ride it in consideration the fact that it's I'd rather just ride the roller coaster for the view than have like a headset strapped to me. The amount of time it took in the station just to load the cars was frustrating enough that it's just not worth coming back or going all the way back down to that section of the park in order to ride it. It's gotten really sunny here. It was only supposed to be 14 degrees today, but it's actually getting a lot more intense. But I'm going down to the last section of the park that I haven't visited yet, which is just beyond me here, and I'm going to ride my last roller coaster of the day. Final coaster of the day is the Dragon. It is a Vekoma looping coaster that's built into the hillside, like every ride here. To be honest with you though, it's got a very unusual layout, 2 loops, a sidewinder, a lot of helixes as well. So it kind of follows the terrain down. It has 2 lift hills, a lift hill leading back into the station. So let's give this one a try. that was 2 rides on the Dragon, and to be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting much from this ride initially. It was kind of like, I thought the other rides, or at least the coasters here, were going to be leave a bigger impression on me, but it's actually my second favorite ride here. The way it actually works with the terrain is quite unique and packs a lot of punch into its short circuit. A little underwhelming on the end with the chain lift hill leading into the station, basically. It's a bit of a curious design, but as far as oddities go, this is a really good coaster. And also, it's not so rough, to be honest with you, considering the age of the ride itself and being where it is and the condition of some of the other rides here. I'm rather surprised of how well it runs. So yeah, pretty good solid ride. I'm gonna have to say that it was a good ending note for my visit here to Ocean Park to end on this coaster. The second best one in the park as far as I'm concerned, and it's got such a wild color scheme too. How can you beat that? Again, also the views over the sea or over the ocean, like the way that this park is situated, it's really world class in just how it's set up. It's definitely worth a visit. Behind me there's a large theater show going on, if you can see that. It's gotten so sunny here that I can't actually see what I'm even looking at as far as the camera is concerned. But yeah, definitely a 2-day park, Ocean Park, as far as if you want to do everything here. I don't have enough time. Again, I have a half day, but I have managed to get everything in. Fast pass, maybe not necessarily needed. It's not that busy in the queues, to be honest. I did walk onto this ride and I didn't even use my fast pass for it. So that's something to bear in mind. Maybe just get the 7 attraction one if you're dead set and you're not sure about what's going on in the park when you get here. But to have the all pass is really only worth it if you want to do absolutely everything, including the stage shows or the aquatic shows themselves. So yeah, thumbs up to the Dragon. So yet again, now the wait time is 90 minutes for the mine train, which is kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. The only reason why it's 90 minutes is we have these boards that actually indicate what the ride times are. The only reason why it's 90 minutes is because of that queuing process and the fact that it takes so long for people to get the headsets on and for them to get them off. But it's just not worth it to me. It's getting very sunny, so it's hard to get a good shot anywhere in this park now. Like, there's beautiful stuff around, but you're not necessarily here watching this to see me anyway, so let's continue on. So I just got off the log flume here at Ocean Park, and to be honest with you, it's a nice little ride. Quite old, to be honest with you, which it is what it is. This park's been here for quite a while, and these rides are old. It's certainly no Chiapas. It's pretty short, but a nice, green little ride. With a little bit more theming, it could actually be an interesting or a scare attraction of some sort, like a haunted log flume of some sort, because there are a couple of tunnels leading up to the main drop at the end of the ride here. I thought there was 2 drops, but there is only 1, so it's for what it is, it's a pretty good ride, but definitely recommend it. You don't get too wet on it. Everyone's, as per usual in this part of the world, putting on the plastic parkas, but I just got off of it, and I was in the back, and I didn't get wet basically at all, so here's what it is. Prepare for what you need to, but yeah, nice little present ride. I think I'm going to try it on again, just for fun. Just got off the turbo drop that you're going to see behind me eventually as I get to the top of these stairs, but called the Abyss. The one benefit of the Fast Pass, I will say, is that you do get priority seating. You get your first selection of seat if you're at the front of the queue, and there's no one here, so I got to have the best view over the park during that particular ride. Definitely worth it for that. It being such a hot day today, the lineup for this attraction, which is the Rapids ride, is like an hour, it looks like, and I'm right at the front of the queue. So yet again, good value. It's hot, so this is actually going to work out pretty good.
胆子大一点吧，你看那像个老鼠。
请勿張開雨傘。
还好还好。
A rather solid rapids ride there, to be honest with you. Great decor and some caves and some unexpected turns and that. And you're definitely going to get wet on this one. They have lots of like effects that are really in your face. And, like, there's no other real way to put it. But yeah, like overall, not too bad. Like I got a bit wet, but yeah, it doesn't really let up. It's a really good ride. I'm pretty shocked that it turned out the way it did. This is the Garden of Joy, just a little pocket on the side of the park that I didn't really actually know existed. It's a serene little place, away from all the hustle and bustle of the pathway just on the other side here, and it's where my tour of Ocean Park comes to an end. And it also affords you a little bit of a rest from, say, the sweltering sun that's suddenly appeared here in Hong Kong, and I've got my winter jacket on, or at least this was what I was wearing as a winter jacket for Asia. And now I'm sweating like mad, as you can see, so I'm gonna make my way up to Hair Razor and hopefully get one more ride on it before I head out of the park, and then we're gonna gondola out of here, which will be our closing shot of Ocean Park. Pretty good park, only 4 coasters, but a pretty good combination of furls, to be honest with you. They could use a giga here. The hills side is pretty much conducive for a giga coaster being here, so they really should think about if they have the budget to get something like that, because it would be an absolutely phenomenal experience, and who knows, maybe it's something that they have down in the pipeline. So yeah, signing off from Ocean Park.